It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. It's time to open yet another beer from the Brewer's Advent Calendar. This time we've got beer number 19 to open. It's been pretty good. Pretty good. I've had a little cheeky look at the side of the box. And what seems to be left are kind of like Vienna lagers, Doppelbox, smoked lagers. So I think what they've done here is they've left the best till last. Of course, next year then, you think of this advent calendar, you think, oh, that was great, and you buy another one. So I think they put all the great beers at the end. But let's have a look. They've all been good. They've all been there we have, we got our first Raunchbier, 4.8% ABV. Raunchbier uses smoked malt, a product of Germany, by, wow, the name of this brewery. It's Privatbrauerei Egerer. 500ml can then. Smoked malt, so it's going to be a smoky taste to this beer. Should be pretty good. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. So a darker coloured beer. Now the original makers of this style of beer, or maybe not the original but kind of one of the originals, and they're very famous for it. In fact, I think most of their beers are smoked. The brewery's called Sherlin Curler, and they make some terrific smoked beers. Not to take anything away from Privatbrauerei Egerer here. This could be a terrific beer. We got a 1 finger, slightly off-white head. Good levels of rolling carbonation. If I can hold the glass up on the side there a little bit, you can see small levels of carbonation rising up the side of the glass. Dark, very dark looking smoked lager, little bit of light bleeding through the bottom of the glass here, like a golden colour. But for me, looking at the glass of beer, I'd say in terms of British style, it looks like a very dark mild. So let's get the aroma on this beer then. Actually, they've done a mighty fine job of getting that kind of smoky aroma. It smells a bit peaty. Like smoky bacon flavours. Smells fabulous, absolutely fabulous. We'll talk about the smoked malt in a moment, how they do it, but let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh. It's a required taste. I like it. Probably, now I like the session beer. So last night, give you an example of just my last night. I got the perfect draft machine. I got that, the La Virgen, the Spanish Helles lager on. I was going back and forth all night, out into my bar. TV was on, watching. I like to switch off, watch rubbish on the television. So going back and forth, got this Helles lager. Drank 3 or 4 pints of it. I like the session beer. This is more of a specialist beer where you're only going to want to drink one. And Brewery Egerer know this. They know you're only going to want to drink one. So they make the batches a lot smaller for this particular beer. Maybe not for this particular beer, because this beer has gone in every one of these advent calendars. So they probably brewed a big batch of it for this specific advent calendar. But normally I think a brewery would brew a smaller batch of this. If they had, say, a large industrial sized brewery and then they had a small craft brewery on the side, I would probably suggest that they would likely brew this smoked beer on the craft plant, if that makes sense. Because, as I say, going back to it, it's a required taste. It's smoky, it's peaty, it's kind of smoky bacon-like. Carbonation pushes the beer on the inside of the mouth. There's some nice hop characters coming through. It's slightly kind of dark fruity on the back end, like a blackberry or a blueberry. There is some biscuit malt to be had in there as well. So it's a big old flavour profile. It's really having to, or having you to dig deep into your flavour profiles, if you like, and really pick out as many flavours as you can of this beer. But the predominant flavour is that kind of smokiness, almost like slight tobacco smoke, smoked bacon. So what they do, they get the malt. Now I've been to Brewery Żywiec in Poland. That's where they roast malt. So they pass the malt through on a conveyor belt on an old kind of like roaster where they kind of, there's a fire underneath and they're roasting the malt for their Baltic porter, their dark Baltic porter. They used to do it on site. Wonderful machine. Wonderful to see it in action. But I can imagine it's a similar process where they pass the malt on a conveyor belt over hot charcoals or maybe kind of smoked wood chips. And it smokes the malt. Maybe not over a conveyor belt, but maybe over a big cylinder or something like that, because it would have to be for a little while for the malt to take in that smoke. But that's the process. That's how they make this style of beer. A very interesting style of beer. As I said, a beer that I'd like to drink one of. But I don't think I want 2 or 3 or 4. I don't want to session it. But it's a nice beer. It's an enjoyable beer. And if you're kind of new to beer or you're trying to get into your different flavour profiles for beers, then try a Raunchbier. Try a smoked Raunchbier. Because you're developing your palate. You're enhancing your palate. You're opening your mind to different flavours in the world, which is always a good thing in life. Right, Privatbrauerei Egerer. The ingredients are water, barley, malt and hops. Interesting that all of the ingredients on all of the cans, so we've done 19 cans now, and they all say that on the side of the can in exact form: water, barley, malt and hops. So they never mention the yeast, and it's all barley malt. So I think this here has been kind of produced for the American market. They've been sent this kind of ingredient profile and stamp it on, and of course the American don't drive a tractor when you're pregnant type of thing on the side of the can as well. You know, a really interesting beer. I'm going to rate it. I'm going to rate it as a Raunchbier. It's smoky enough. I mean, that's probably not far off a Shirley Curler, if I'm honest. So for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.